thought the first 30 minutes, of the game, we picked up a little bit where we left off. The structure was quite good and the movement was quite good, and we were creating chances, but again, we failed to take those chances. And again, as we've done in the previous games, we gave up a rather unnecessary and sloppy goal from our side. So we then get into a situation where we want to chase the game a little bit. But we've got plenty of time, so we try to stay patient. But then Nangi gets his injury, and we have to change it. We lose a little bit of balance. But we come in really at half time, and we're talking about sharpening up certain aspects of our game, not overhauling the game. But then when we concede the second goal, you've got to really chase the game. So we have to change it. We go to a back four and we change it. And maybe that makes it a little bit more complicated for the players. I don't know. Maybe that's something the coach has to consider. But in any case, the decision making after that, and I think the nervousness and the lack of quality and the naivety sort of our decision making made it very, very difficult to get back into the game. Even though we got a goal back, we allowed a goal straight away. The last 10 odd minutes were quite embarrassing, and we need to apologise to our supporters for the manner in which the game finished. So what started off a good night turned into a very poor one from our side. But for this evening, which if you take away, if we'd had a shutout tonight, then it would have been a completely different picture. But look, you're right. I mean, I broke the European record for number of shutouts on the trot. We had 13, and we were very, very miserly when I was here the last time. I don't want to be back heavy. I don't want to have a tight defence, but we don't play expansive football. And so we're finding that balance. Whether we have a player like Willard, no, we don't. We don't have that one that sits. Anthony, when he came in, was going to do that role, but we don't have, in the way we're playing at the moment, we don't have that. We have an extra centre back who steps up rather than a midfield player that drops in. So we should compensate for it. But at the moment, we're making such poor decisions in moments of the game. And I have to say, like, we played well for 30 minutes, but then for moments of the game, and the same against Sundowns, moments of the game are destroying the complete performance. So we've conceded 4 this evening. When you concede 4 in one game after only 4 games, then that's a high total. If we'd had a shutout tonight, we'd have been quite miserly, So it's one of those where tonight's game has put a different spin on our start to the season. Unfortunately, we could have said, with a good win tonight, we could have said, well, the only hiccup was against Sundowns, and we played quite well actually. So tonight makes everything look dark, but I think we've got to look at the result tonight and say we're not happy with that. We're not happy with the performance, but we can't let that taint everything that we've been doing. Obviously, when we're in the situation that we're in, trying to put together different sorts of strategies and corporations and structures within the team, a 4-1 is absolutely not the desired result. And the reason that it became 4-1 is because we chased the game and made poor decisions and poor mistakes. So the reason that we got 4-1, if we'd have just kept it tight and kept on playing, maybe it's 2-1 and people are not crying so much, but we can't do that. We've got to go and try and win the game. And we've got to try and get back into the game the way we did the Nedbank in the MTN against Sundowns. We got back from 2-0 down. So you've got to try and do that. Playing with three centre backs. Look, we played against Barocca, and the last 15 minutes, and even against Sundowns, we conceded goals by people changing the play from one side to the other, and our distances were a little bit wrong, and they ended up crossing, and we ended up by being a man short in the centre. So we gave up goals like that, despite playing quite well apart from that, you know. So like if you remember the goals against Sundowns, and then even if you remember the goal against Barocca from the set play, it was at the far post. And you remember the Sundowns goal now was at the far post. We're having that problem. We're having that problem with our distances. So our idea there was to go with three centre backs, and we could tuck that wing back around and kill that space. Now, it has worked, but we've still conceded goals in poor situations for us. The 3-4-3, the two wing backs getting high and wide when we have the ball has helped us a lot. It's been very good. Like we've scored and we've had joy with it. But it's the question. The question is that can we defend as efficiently with the four as we can with the 3 plus the 2? Because the front players play almost exactly the same. We have a 9 and 2 pocket players, and the 2 centre midfield players. That's almost exactly the same. You either take that centre back and make him into a defensive midfield player that drops in between your centre backs in the build up, or you have a centre back that gives you 3 centre backs. It's about finding balance, Mark, and the balance was obviously wrong tonight. Brandon, I think we hung him out to dry a little bit. Whenever he was brought into the game, he was brought into the game. I thought his distribution was quite good in the first half, and his calmness was quite good. But whenever he had to make a save, it was almost a last-ditch save. So I don't think it wasn't a very easy game for Brandon in that respect. Jabulo, look, I've been saying all along, Jabulo has got to get used to his teammates. He's got to get used to the way we play. He's got to accommodate our build-up play with his own qualities, and he's going to make mistakes, and he's going to give us some strengths, but the same as every player, I think the screaming after push him in doesn't help him. It doesn't help anybody. I mean, I gave him a game tonight because I thought it was the right game for him to go in. I wanted him to drive forward a little bit with the ball on his side and dominate a little bit, and because of the way they play. But this is his first game. He did okay. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Keegan's done better in previous games than he did tonight. I thought he showed his quality at times in flashes tonight. He didn't show it as consistently as he has done in the previous games. But I think when you've been out for a long time like Keegan, I think it's not unnatural, and I think it's quite normal to, once you've got back, you push, and then when you are back, you sort of breathe out a little bit. And I think Keegan may have had that little breathing out tonight. He's got to regroup and he's got to reassess himself. I didn't think he was bad. I just thought he was a little bit, as you say, he was off the pace, off his best. Showed some flashes of his quality, which is undoubted, but can affect the game a lot more. I think if you think of heads dropping, it's undoubtedly going to be an issue if you're losing 3-1 at home, and you've made substitutions, and they're trying to go in and affect the game, and they're just not affecting the game. I think that's going to be an issue. When I say heads dropping, I don't mean people throw the towel in, but showing their disappointment. So I think that's something that's unavoidable. You can keep on pushing until the end, but what happened this evening was that in our pushing, I've changed. I've gone to a back four. I've changed the personnel at the front. For them to find each other immediately, it's a big ask. But I thought the fresh legs may just give us that little boost that we could get a goal back and then push on. Well, we did get a goal back, but we didn't push on. We allowed a goal straight away. About the wing backs, look, I think the wing backs understand their role perfectly. I think we've played like this for 3 or 4 games now, in friendly games and against Sundowns and against this in this game. They understand. In fact, I think Blom plays it very, very well. The problem is that when you're going to push forward, if you're going to leave them high and wide, that the 3 at the back have got to spread properly and they've got to get their distances right, and you've got to protect them as well with maybe a defensive midfield player sitting in. So I think there's a lot of things that can go wrong with a wing back system, the same as every other system. But I don't think it's any different to if we play with a back four and we push our full backs on the way Sundowns do and drop a midfield player in between to pull the strings a little bit. It's the same build-up structure. So I think they understand it quite well. But it's the same as everything. Everything comes under the microscope if you have a bad result.